Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel and to another normal video. It's another Doctor Who review. Wow! I feel like we've been on, except for the 1 week when we were hungover. It's been pretty consistent, I think.
Yeah.
We've been fairly solid. Yes, if you're new, this is the regular video series we do on this channel where we review episodes of Doctor Who from New Who, so 2005 onwards. We have watched completed series 1 to 5, and we're very close to completing series 6. Incredible stuff. We are now on episode 12 of series 6, Closing Time. This is the penultimate episode of the series. It's not a two-part finale this year, which it normally has been. I think it's the first time it's not been a 2 or more part finale since the show came back. So
yeah, just deleting one of my fun facts.
There you go. See, it's the obvious one.
It is.
But I mean, you know, the end of this one leads into the finale, so it's got a bit of a utopia into
it's just not a straight like to be continued kind of vibes.
No. But in this episode, it's companion light, full-time companion light at least. It has Matt Smith returning to an old favorite. He's going to see his best pal James Corden, Craig. And Craig has a child. Wow. Called, is it I want to say Archie.
Alfie.
Correct? Alfie. There we go. I was close.
Not bad.
Alfie, who also known as Stormageddon, the Dark Lord of All, I believe is his full title.
Yeah.
And there appears to be Cybermen stealing some people, stealing some power, and attacking a department store. God, department stores, they don't exist anymore. That's a blast from the past. They're all gone.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, terrible. But yeah, I mean, they have to solve the mystery. They have to stop the Cybermen. All with doing it with the power of love. What did you think of the episode? I had a good time.
So did I. I think I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, I've always regarded it like fairly well anyway. It helps that there are Cybermen in it. I feel like if it was a different villain, I probably would think of this less fondly, I will admit. But yeah, I had a very good time because it's not just like a one-off, romp in a way. There is like some real character stuff in there with the Doctor kind of accepting his impending death. And kind of revisiting a recurring character from last series, I think is a cool idea. I like it when that happens on the odd occasion that it does. Just kind of seeing how his life has changed in the past year since we last met him, and that dynamic worked in series 5. I think it makes sense to explore it again here. As part of the Doctor's farewell tour, I think it was cool to kind of have an episode set during that 200 years when he's photoshopping himself into old films that Rory watches and stuff like that. So yeah, that was cool, and obviously Cybermen are my favorites, so it was good to get them again. However, I mean, I actually thought they weren't in it that much screen time wise. I thought they were quite effectively used, and I did enjoy that. I'm happy to reduce their screen time for what we were getting instead, because I actually think a lot of the humor and everything in the episode worked quite well. So yeah, I enjoyed it as I thought I was going to, but I actually ended up having a really, really fun time until the depression at the end, which is still quite something. And that ending still gives me chills to this day. But yeah, it was actually a really, really fun episode. And I think after the last couple of really heavy ones, well placed, I think, especially before the finale as well.
Yes, I definitely think so. I think there are elements of, obviously, as you mentioned with the cliffhanger, there are elements of darkness and dark themes in this one. But I think with James Corden predominantly being a comedic actor and sort of Matt Smith playing that comedic side to the Doctor this time, I think it really balances itself out well, and it kind of lays the groundwork for the sort of the themes that will be in the next episode of how dark that'll get, and also how lighthearted and fun it can be at times. So we, as always, we have 3 positives and 3 negatives, and we will start with positives. I cannot remember who went first last time.
Good.
I'll go first.
You go first.
My first one is the Doctor / how he's written.
Same.
Yay! Look at that. Wow.
Look at us.
Yeah, because it wasn't just Matt Smith's performance, although I think he gives a great performance. But
yeah, my note is like Matt Smith / the Doctor.
Yes, yeah, and I think a lot of this is really well written for the Doctor's point of view. I think I really like how his dialogue's done. I like the sort of flicks between the just a lot of the dialogue with him and Craig is great, and it very much feels like they've known each other for years. And it that kind of makes sense, and that builds off the fact that Craig knows effectively everything about the Doctor because of the whole head thing that happened in series 5. And it very much feels like the Doctor can sort of be more himself in this one. It doesn't feel like he's putting on as much of a front as he might do before, because Craig can effectively see through it and he doesn't need to try as hard. So I appreciate how all that's all done. I think Matt Smith's mannerisms and actions in this is great. Both of us noted the pepper on the back of James Corden's shoulders.
Yeah, and when he laughs at the book and everything as well. Like, like, there's so many little moments like that I really adore.
Yeah, and there's a lot, and I think that this one, similar to sort of, I can't remember which one it was, whether it was last week or the week before, but it shows both sides of him, sort of the fun side, and then when it needs to be serious, when he's fighting the Cybermen and when he's trying to save people, it shows that serious side of him. Although I think this episode definitely leans more towards the fun side of the 11th Doctor. I think the majority of it is there, and I think having a baby in this scenario helps bring that out a bit more. And yeah, I think Matt Smith does a great job. I think the writing really works well for this one, and it really feels like the 11th Doctor in this one. I couldn't see you slotting in a different actor, a different Doctor into this role and having the same kind of effect with the same script. But yeah, I really liked the Doctor in this one, and obviously Matt Smith. So what were your thoughts on it?
Well, let me have a look. I mean, one of my stand-up notes for him is that my second positive, so I'll just leave that separate. But yeah, I think again, like him bouncing off of James Corden, as Matt Smith works well with everyone basically. I think that worked again really nicely here, and kind of changing up, I guess, with the element of like incoming depression, because this is a Doctor, about to face his death, and I like that Craig picks up that something's wrong. Doesn't press in for the answers, which I thought was quite wholesome. He's like, you have to tell me everything. He just kind of knows, and how that kind of all worked up together. They had some really funny moments together, but also, I did like near the end when it did get serious between them. And you do see like there has been like a really nice attachment formed between them, which is really nice. And him kind of trying to accept his death and opening up about it, even though Craig and Alfie have fallen asleep. But that's a really nice little scene as well. And this is a Doctor 200 years after we last saw him. At this point, so I think how he's written and how he's characterized by Matt Smith in this one really does kind of show some of that weariness. And also, if you're about to die, of course you're going to want to have a laugh. So I do like that he really leans into that, and he tries desperately, like, I'm not going to get involved. I know something's wrong here, but I'm not going to do it. And then just that smash cut to him getting the job in the shop, and all of that. It was just really, really nice to kind of see what the Doctor might be like near the end of his life, which is kind of depressing. But I think
see a number of times during Matt Smith's run what he might be like during the end of his life.
Certainly do, yeah.
Must be exhausting going through every day thinking, well, I'm going to die tomorrow, and then just it keep happening and happening and happening.
Yes, especially when he's like so old at this point. Like, oh, just do it. Just shoot me. But that is kind of a big part of his arc, I guess, is his acceptance of his death in the end, and all that leads into his regeneration speech and everything. So I do like how they're sowing seeds of that in a way, but in a more light-hearted exploration of it here, which I think works really, really well. So yeah, he absolutely kind of nails the comedic aspects of it, and the goofiness of 11, I think, definitely is at full force probably in this episode, and the Lodger as well. So it does kind of pair them nicely together like that. As it does with Craig's arc about his love kind of saving the day both times. So yeah, I just really enjoyed 11 throughout this whole episode. Laughing out loud at some of the things I'd forgotten, but also when it gets down to it, he has some really lovely serious moments as well. And he's like, he's begging Craig to fight back when he thinks he's being converted, and his face when it seems like it's not working, and all of that. When he sees Amy and Rory, that scene's really lovely as well. So I like this. As always, there's so much heart. Ironic, maybe not ironic since it's got two of them, to the Doctor in this one. But I do very much enjoy they gave him a chance to lean into some more comedy before this series was out, and before he has to go to his death.
Yep, I think that's fair, especially because like a lot of the episodes I think in series 7 are quite dark as well. Like from memory, a lot of them have quite sinister tones, except maybe Dinosaurs on the Spaceship and Rings of Akaten. I think those are two light-hearted ones, but the other ones are pretty, dark and depressing. I think.
Yeah.
Daleks, Amy and Rory dying, Cold War, nuclear war,
As you do.
brothers killing each other in the TARDIS. Maybe
All
not
that
the
good
Crimson
stuff.
Horror. Well, not the Crimson
No,
Horror.
that's the levity. That's the closing time of.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I obviously completely agree. My second positive, I think it's a fair one. James Corden.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fair. Again, we discussed this last week. I'm not one of the ones that's like, oh yeah, James Corden's terrible in everything, because he's not. There's a reason why he gained popularity. And I think he does a really good job here. Whether or not he'd be able to do the same role again now is a different, that's a different story. But when it came at the time, just before he hit America, this probably helped that as well. Just after Gavin and Stacey, I think this is a really good character. I like him. I think immediately you're like, yes, this is your average Joe on the street that has a family and is just trying to get by, and parents can relate to him because he's got absolutely no idea what he's doing with a baby, and he's just trying to manage. And I think he pulls off the comedy stuff really well, and he pulls off the the emotion and the sort of you feel that it's a father and son situation rather than just an actor and a baby. And I think they show that really well throughout. And I think James Corden does a great job. And I just want to give him the credit, because a lot of people just go and hate on him and say, "Oh, it's a James Corden episode. That's not very good." Blah, blah, blah. And they probably won't have watched the episode since it came out, and they'll have their thoughts tainted by the James Corden of now rather than how he is in this.
It's
I really think
it's Twitter saying things about it, and people haven't double checked, which is something I think the Moffat and Chibnall era unfortunately have over their heads.
Yeah, and maybe that'll change when we get the further away we get from these episodes, the more people will go back and rewatch
Absolutely.
them.
We've already had a bit of a Peter Capaldi renaissance and stuff. So
yes,
Andrew Garfield renaissance and everything. I'm sure. I always liked Series 6, but I'd forgotten just how strong it was, particularly the back half, kind of doing this. I'm like, wow, this is a really good series.
Yeah,
but
and
people
I completely agree.
Still shit on this series to this day. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Like,
this definitely has been sort of more surprising for me, just especially this back end of Series 6, where I wouldn't necessarily have said it was some of my favorite episodes, but I think this is great. I think James Corden's great, as he is great in Series 5. I think you can tell it's the same character as well. Sometimes when an actor comes back after a year or even so, they might be a completely different character. Looking at you, Billy Piper in Turn Left. So I'm glad there's that continuation. You could watch these back to back and just assume that they were back to back filmed. They they were next to each other in the series. And I think James Corden does a great job in this episode. So congrats, James Corden. I'm sure you're watching this.
We know you're watching.
So yeah, drop a comment, James Corden. We know you're there.
Drop a comment. Give us some money.
Well, yeah. What's your second?
Sponsor this.
He won't give us. He won't give us some money. He doesn't even pay for his restaurant bills anymore.
Oh, that's true. Not without cause, then maybe.
No, yes.
But still.
Anyway,
moving on. Moving on.
Yes.
The scene with the Doctor and Alfie over the cot when he's kind of that whole scene. It's my favorite scene of the episode, and I just really like Matt Smith's performance in it. The baby gives a great performance in that scene. It is funny, kind of like I was playing a guessing game during this episode, being like, "Oh, how many different babies are there?" Because you look very different to you did in the last scene, baby. So I was enjoying trying to work that out as well. But that's probably a drinking game. But yeah, that whole speech he gives about living in the now and what you don't be afraid of what's ahead and stuff like that, and living your dreams, all of that kind of comparison between this ancient Time Lord's life and this newborn baby human who's still got their whole life ahead of him, saying I hope you had as much fun as I did, and all of that, and the implication that the people who made that star light thing somehow made a really good model of some stars underneath that, and they thought, nah, let's just stick the classic baby stars. Maybe when you grow up it just automatically changes. But showing him the stars and bringing the stars to him in that way, I think was really cool.
Well, you know, remember that the baby is whoever it is, that guy that fights the Cybermen in Nightmare in Silver. Remember? That was a theory that went round.
That's a theory. That is certainly a theory that people had. That's a real theory people had. Because the guy was a bit bigger. So
that must be James Corden's the same kid. Person.
That must be James Corden's kid.
Obviously.
Doctor Who fans suck, don't they? He can't just be a character in his own right. There you go. Yes, but that whole scene I think is lovely, and you know, it's a scene you can only have doing an arc like this when the Doctor thinks he's going to die soon, and he's kind of trying to come to terms with that, kind of reflecting on, you know, his life and the things he's done and what he's proud of, what he isn't. It's just a really lovely written monologue. As much as I hate praising the writer of this episode, it was a really kind of well written speech, and you know, there's something about the Doctor's interactions with kids that I think really, really works, because he is this like ancient guy, particularly with Capaldi. He's hilarious with kids. But even something as brief as like Eccleston trying with the kid, like they're fighting over the remote in Aliens of London and stuff like that. It's just something that really works, and when they make it heartfelt like they did in this one, rather than just playing it for laughs, you know, it is again really impactful. And yeah, I think that whole speech is beautiful. It's one of my favorite moments, I think, 11 gets, and he has many good speeches, but this is definitely another really great one, and something that you can only do with the story that you're telling at this particular time. And yeah, really well performed, really well written, and definitely kind of the standout scene in the episode for me.
Yep, I think that's fair. And there's a number of moments in this episode where Matt Smith has moments with children, whether that's the one where he's showing them all the helicopter in the shop, or having the weird bit at the end with the eyewitnesses.
I really liked his hat.
You know,
I laughed out loud at that. It's like, what the hell?
But yeah, you know, I think he does a good job here, and you know, it can't be easy acting opposite a baby, a literal baby, which are unpredictable, and you can't really get like a reaction from them. So fair play to him. My last positive, I think it's probably fair enough. The Cybermen / Cybermats.
My boys.
I'm always a fan of seeing them. I like this kind of story where it's kind of low stakes. I mean, you know, they're trying to take over the world, but they're not quite taking over the world yet. You know, I like that. I like the sort of battered design of them, where they've got like
I think
over their face.
I think this is the scariest that design's been since Age of Steel. I would say. Yeah,
I think that's fair, and I think that's because except for Cyberwoman.
I say what I say. That's scary in a different way.
Okay. I mean, when she partially converts the people in Cyberwoman, not necessarily the Cyberwoman herself.
Cyberwoman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the full design, I guess.
No. But yeah, I like them. I kind of like the backstory that they just sort of sat there and it's the council's fault. As you know, being a council worker myself, I know how that feels. I can always guarantee. I'm sorry.
I'm reporting you to the council.
And that's also what I thought of when she was going on about, it's the council. I was like, Kel won't be happy. Kes? One of them. Kel. Kes is the bad guy from Planet. Yeah, that one. Oh, God. Either way, both iconic characters in their own right.
Yes.
But yeah, the Cybermen in this is great. I like the sort of backstory they give them. I like the fact that they're not from a parallel Earth; they're from this universe. They've just got the same design. Don't worry about it. It just happens. They just converge. It's fine.
I like that. Like, we need to destroy these suits just so we can stop using them. Let's just make them all
basically.
Shit.
Moffat's like, this is the last time we're seeing them. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want, and
they've got rid of the C's on their chests. And, like, you can see the slow evolution.
But yeah, I really like them. I like the return of the Cybermats. This is obviously the first time they were there, even if maybe they were just included to sell some toys, which they certainly did do in the end.
Everything's in Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's a kids TV show. A family TV show. So everything's to sell toys. But you know, I think they look good. I like the weird little mouths they have with the human mouths, and I like James Corden's reaction to the human mouths. Like, they've got human mouths. I was like, yes, yep.
Shut up.
I like that. I you know, their design, how they sort of attack and wait and bide their time to strike, I think is great. I like the not the introduction, but when it's like there's a sinister beeping behind me, I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Gets him. I appreciate that.
The dramatic turn as he looks around.
Yes, obviously, always with the dramatic turn. And yeah, I think the Cybermen are definitely creepy in this episode. I think that's shown more so when George gets taken, when it like swoops around and it kind of pans with him, and then the Cybermen's like behind him. I think that's a really nice sort of not jump scare, but like a creepy moment where that they can sit there, and it's got that whole thing where were your legs on silent type thing, where they just sort of sneak up and while that is a criticism of especially this Cybermen because they make a point of their legs being so loud. I prefer it if the Cyberman could be silent and just like sneak up and
the opening bit where you just see their legs on the carpet and you can't hear them.
Yeah, and obviously it kind of looks like human legs, but it doesn't see like is that someone in there? I think they're great. And you could put any villain in this episode and I guess it would probably work, but I think with the Cybermen it adds a sort of extra layer of prestige, I think, to the episode. Sort of
especially when it had been so long since they were the main villain.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So are they your third, or have you got a different third positive?
No, they were one of my bonus ones. I did very much enjoy them and the side mats and stuff. And yeah, I do think this was like a very scary use of those designs for the first time in quite a while. It was that scene, I think, when Craig confronts them. I was like, shit, I do not want to be in that situation.
I know,
Something about women in that scene, I was like, God, they look really creepy. It's like that thing when I'm like, I don't really find the Daleks that scary. And then I went to Doctor Who Experience and you see them like, oh my God, you're terrifying. But the Cybermen do actually count. They do have the capability of scaring me on screen, particularly the Mondasian ones. But I did like how menacing they were. In the the limited time they got, I think they were used effectively in this one, screen count wise. So that was good. But yeah, my last positive was the end sequence. The ending with
that's one of my bonus ones.
Kovarian and the silence and River, and that shot of her in the astronaut suit at the end with the creepy doll song playing over it again. Fucking song, so horrible. But yeah, it gives me chills every time. I remember that scene lived in my mind rent free for that week in between this and Wedding of River song airing. It was it's just so creepy, and the transition to it definitely could have been better and was a choice, but I just love that whole kind of scene and the kind of inevitability of what's going on, and the powerlessness that River has in that scene is something you don't see from her a lot. It's still kind of fairly early for her, really. I did like seeing that.
It's the implication as well that the Silence have always been there watching over her as well, and have always been making sure that she stays on this path.
I think they have to make sure that it's a fixed point, so it has to be her in that suit, and it has to be an astronaut suit and everything to make it a fixed point by being so fucking bizarre. So I do like, they've been keeping tabs on her all this time, and she might have found out a good few times, but she looks away from them, and then that's it. And that, a really creepy kind of presence from them, especially because we haven't seen those creatures since the 2-part premiere. And it's been like Good Man Goes to War was the last time we saw Kovarian. To bring them back in a bit before the finale, I do like that kind of setup. And if people are just tuning in, like, oh, Smithy from Gavin Stacey's in this one, to end it on like a creepy note like this, like, well, I want to see what goes on there. I think that was a cool way of doing it. So yeah, I do like how they set up the finale with that, with the Doctor kind of at the point he gets his Stetson, he gets the envelopes, he's ready for the start of Series 6. And they put River in that position, so she's ready for the start of Series 6 as well. It was a nice kind of a cap to the episode. I don't think it was necessarily jarring compared to what came before because of the Doctor's arc throughout the episode. So it was a nice bit of setup for the finale that maybe they just didn't have room to put in the actual episode 13. Who knows? But I think is really haunting. Oh, my screen's just gone black again. Hopefully I'm still there and you can still hear me.
Yep. You've come in. It was only a few seconds. Oh, panic then.
Oh God, not again.
God.
But yeah, anyway, that's my point. So I like that last scene a lot. It's very good.
Yeah, fair enough. The cliffhanger is one of my bonus ones. I especially like when River stands up to face Kovarian, and in the background you can just see the silence there, and it's like that wasn't there before. I'm not a fan of this, thank you.
Wait a minute.
And then when they just appear out of the darkness, I like all that. I'm really love the aesthetics of the silence. I think it kind of kills the aesthetic when the two men in camouflage suits come out with the actual. I'm like, oh, I know why you've got the camouflage soldier suits on.
They have to link it to the church, but
you could have got fine, whatever.
Obviously, this wasn't planned that far in advance. Even there's literal
No.
church people in this bit.
Yeah.
But sure.
Yes, but yeah, I really like the silence, obviously, and I think the cliffhanger does a fairly good job of teasing the next episode and teasing that, hey, the whole story arc for this series is about to be resolved. You better tune in, which is great. My other sort of positives were the overall supporting cast.
Yes, I thought that as well.
As little as they are, most of them die. I really like all of them. I like the interaction that James Corden has with the shop assistant girl in the lingerie section. It's like,
Kelly,
why would you do it here? Why just don't do this? Yeah, I'm like, stop. I like that, and I like George. I like George as the character. And I like when he's like big and menacing to James Corden, and then like the doctor's like, oh, hello, he's so happy to see him. And I'm like, whoa, what's this going on? I think that's great, even though I think he does a terrible job of making sure the shop is secure, because he should have been able to see. He should have been able to see James Corden and Matt Smith just like hiding under there, and then as he's still walking away, the sonic screwdriver just goes up. I'm like, come on. And if you're that good of friends, just say, oh, we need to stay below. Fine, whatever. But I think that, and the is it Val? I think is also great. Where she's so adamant. She's so adamant that James Corden and the Doctor are gay. She's like, nope, you're gay.
She's absolutely writing fan fiction about them when she is.
Yes, 100%. But I think the supporting cast is, again, it's another small one, but I think they all sort of stand out because of that. And I mean, except for the one that dies right at the start. But that's because she dies right at the start. You can't really do much with that. And I think that's great. And then my other bonus positive is just Eleven's outfit. I really like that coat. I think it's a great coat.
It's a great coat right there.
Yeah, literally. And that's about it. I just really like it. Shame we don't really get more of it after this. I think that's just about it, isn't it? It's this, and then obviously it's in the start
in the
of
next
Series
one.
6.
Then that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Series 6 variant.
Does he wear it for the whole of the finale? I think he only wears it for a bit, doesn't he? And then
because then they go to then they go for time goes all wavy, doesn't it, in the finale?
Yeah, but doesn't he have his tweed coat on for that one?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
either way, it's another costume variant with his beard.
Yes,
stuff, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah.
Oh, he's like wearing like a toga or something, isn't he?
Yeah, because isn't he in prison because Winston Churchill's Emperor of Rome or something? I don't know.
Yeah, and Charles Dickens is there. And...
Yes, he certainly is.
It's a time.
Anyway, what bonus positives have you got?
Yes, let's have a look. So yeah, I had Val in particular. I really enjoyed her. She was hilarious. The Sidemen, the Sidemats, we've already talked a bit about them. I really like the Amy and Rory cameo. I thought that was Look, they're contracted for 13 episodes.
They are. They certainly are. Yep.
But yeah, I think it's just, again, showing 200 years ago, the Doctor would just run up to them happily being like, oh, hey, guys, it's me. But the whole point is that he's kind of staying away from them and from the sidelines, reaching out to them. So I like that it's showing, I need to stick to this. I need to stick to my guns here and kind of keep away from them. Otherwise, they'll end up dead. Spoilers, they do. And, it's kind of also exactly the same thing he's going through now with, I was about to say James Corden, with Craig and Alfie. He wants to keep them safe. So he's trying to put some distance between them and do things on his own and be like, you can't come with me. But obviously Craig's having none of that. So I think there's kind of some symmetry and parallels there that I really liked. Poor Rory carrying all the bags. I think he's either a true gentleman or like, well, Karen Gillan needs to sign a little girl's poster in this, so she's certainly not holding the bags in this. But yeah, it's a little glimpse into their life and how they're doing as well. And yeah, I like it. I just think it's neat.
No, I mean, I'll come on to my issue with it. It's not one of my major negatives. It's like a bonus additional nitpick that I've got. Yeah, it's very petty. So,
and also, Rory is a style icon. That's a good fit.
He certainly is. Yeah,
what king. So yeah, I liked kind of checking in with them because for the Doctor, it's been 200 years since he's seen them, so it's kind of sweet.
That we know of.
Else? that we know of. Big Finish probably have done plenty on it.
All the books, all the novels probably set in that time.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. So yeah, I think those are all kind of my little bonus moments.
Yeah, fair enough. Now we've done with the happy stuff, it's time to get on to the negatives. And my first one, I imagine you might have something similar. It's not necessarily that Craig survives and Craig defeats them with the power of love. It's that he's effectively unharmed, I think.
Yeah.
At the end, I can take that the primal being a father sort of overrides whatever technical conversion thing the Cybermen have done. But he's in a Cyberman's head. He's he has cyber arms. He's halfway converted. He needs to have some kind of deformity, I guess, after that, whether it's scars.
Yeah, there needs to be like a permanent change to have occurred.
Yeah,
like
especially because they say conversion complete, even though it's not. Obviously, they're only referencing the conversion of emotions rather than physical conversion. And maybe you could argue that because they didn't have enough power, then it was going to take longer and whatever. But I just think there needed to be some kind of physical impact that Craig has to live with. I know they want the happy, the Doctor's great, he saved everything kind of thing, but maybe it would have been better if Craig did get hurt and it hammers home that the Doctor's sort of dangerous and needs to go. And I think that would have been a better way to do it. But maybe there's a whole thing where it's James Corden and he was like, I don't want to die, or I don't want to. You have to keep me pristine, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. They didn't want too many dark episodes in a row, maybe.
No, and
lighthearted.
And it probably would be hard to have a person wandering around with a Cyberman head casually. But if he's encased in there, just have like some marks or something, like some scars on his head. I don't know. Maybe budget didn't allow, but I think I have no problem with the resolution and how he gets out of it. I just think there should have been something that was more permanent because of it.
Yeah.
So what's your first negative? That.
Basically, well, I've just put Craig should have died.
Yeah.
Or at least, seriously injured. I think he should have been seriously hurt and irreparably changed.
Seriously named.
But yeah, I am in two minds about it. I think if, the solution with like his character saving the day and stuff both times, being his love for someone, first Sophie and now Alfie, I think that makes sense. And the fact that they've already done that with his character is the reason why I'm kind of okay with them doing it again here. Because that's just kind of like his deal. But yeah, it's just the Cybermen just get screwed over so many times. They just always make them look better. And like, you think no one else thinks of their loved ones when they're dying?
Yeah,
like, come on, like this should happen every single time in that case. So it's certainly not Doomsday levels of screwing the Cybermen over, but I'm just like, come on, let them do something to someone. And yeah, it absolutely would have been the perfect thing to like push the Doctor further down this path. Like, right, it needs to be now. No putting off. I should die now. Bye. If Craig had been hurt or died. Yes, it would have been very dark and probably like right in the aftermath of that with like what happens to Alfie and Sophie and everything now. If, and we'll come on to it, if Sophie maybe had been in the episode more, one of them could have died, and I think they could have made something more of an impactful ending with that. But that is not the case. So maybe things could have been different with that, but that's a shame. So yeah, I do think there should have been a more lasting repercussions to Craig just getting out of that. It shouldn't have been scot-free or tied up in a nice neat bow. He's absolutely fine. For all we know, maybe he's not. And
no, it's true.
Maybe he died the next day. He died. So who knows? But I do think there should have been more consequences to what happened to Craig there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. My second negative kind of ties into the first one, also around the resolution, is how the Cybermen just blow up.
There's just a techno babble line, isn't there? And then they're like,
it's like you're giving them an emotional feedback loop and they're feeling everything again. And I'm like, why?
This is a lot easier than Age of Steel.
Yeah, right. Just be like, just have Craig be like, fine, then be like, I don't know. I've sonic the thing. We've got 10 seconds to get out of here. Fine. I don't need them to be feeling again at the end of it. I just think it's just sometimes it stinks of, right, we've got Craig out of the situation. Great. How are we actually going to get rid of the Cybermen? Oh, I don't know. Whatever Craig does impacts them. fine. And maybe it's not happened before, and they kind of play it off with all the electricity going around his head, kind of makes it imply there's an overload. But it's more about how it sounds like the crying is the reason why. And at the same time, why don't the Sidemen just silence the audio? Just turn it off, just turn the screen off, and you
why don't the Sidemen just silence Alfie?
Well, I mean, why not?
Like a bottle top, off you go.
Yeah, literally. But like, it comes back to that thing where the Sidemen
turn him into a Cyberman.
Oh yeah. I just think I know you write yourself into a corner when you're like, how do we get him out? We've got 2 minutes. I don't know. Just have the Dr. Sonic it and do something like that. I don't know. Even have them call unit. I don't care.
Yeah, like sabotage their spaceship, and they don't need to emotionally overload that. That would kill them.
Yeah, you did it in Family of Blood, where you literally did their spaceship in and got rid of them. Just do something similar. You've got a sonic screwdriver. We've already seen you do that.
Imagine like an ending of the Family of Blood, but he just does it to those Cybermen. He just like puts one up in a field, and he's just that'd have been so good.
Why not? Why not? Just
he was being kind. Oh God, I need that series now.
God, could you imagine? But something like that. I just think the resolution, both halves of it, could have been slightly better. Better done. But while they are negatives, I don't think they don't ruin the episode for me by.
No, I'm fine with the solution as it is. I think it could have had a more. This could have been an episode people were still talking about for 10 years after it aired. But
yeah, I think so. So what's your second negative?
My second one. I wish we had more Sophie.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I've said it before. I'd say it again. Get damn it. And I think again, it's very impressive. I think the actress in her 2 scenes again fully embodied that character. I'm like, yeah, she's exactly the same. They could have filmed this back to back. So she, it was nice to at least include her, however briefly. Yeah. I know I guess they just wanted a father and son story really, and Sophie was clearly not part of that. But again, we had when did I talked about having someone else's point of view in an episode before? I can't remember exactly which one it was and when it was. But I think
it was Night Terrors with the mum.
That's it, yeah. Series 6. What are you doing to the mums? So yeah, it's a shame I think that she got sidelined instantly. I mean, good for her having a break and getting away from the kid. Like, fair enough.
Yep.
You do you.
I would too. It's fine.
Yeah, better than that than just running away and never coming back, I guess.
Yeah,
but
certainly.
Yeah, I just wish, what worked so well, I think, about the Lodger was the chemistry between the two of them, and like you really kind of buy into that love story. And I think it's a shame that we don't get to revisit that and see Sophie's kind of response to having the Doctor back around. And would she feel like Alfie is in danger by having the Doctor around? Would she feel the same way that Craig does? And like, well, we're sticking by your side. That's where it's safest. And again, that would have made the ending, I think, easier to kind of do if one of them were to die and still have another one there to kind of get all the emotional core from, rather than just like, well, he's dead and Sophie's away, so now what do we do?
I guess I'll leave the baby with the Val. Bye.
Goodbye. Leave a note for Sophie. Bye. So I think that would also have made that a bit more impactful. I do think it's kind of a shame that she was sidelined. Again, more than happy with what we get, just like with Night Terrors, but I do wish, and see, when we already had the father and son story with Night Terrors, it would have been maybe nice to get the mother's point of view in for this kind of deal. But I guess for getting a mother-daughter story with Amy and River throughout the whole season, maybe, I guess. So there is that. There's a balance there. But yeah, I wish we could have had it. I'm okay that we don't necessarily. It was nice to see her at least, however briefly. But I think the episode could have been better and had a more impactful ending, certainly, if Sophie could have been a bit more included. Maybe it was availability, I don't know, but still would have been nice.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I mean, at least sort of my point of view is at least you can still see their chemistry in those 2 scenes. You still, like you mentioned, they both pick off from where they left off, and I think you can see that here. Maybe they didn't want to include her just in case they ruined it and it made they made it worse and it lost it, maybe lost the shine. But I can deal with it, but I do get what you mean. I think even one of my notes I put can't wait for Sophie to be in this episode, because she's not. She left. But yeah, fair enough. My third, again, not major negative, but negative. Again, still the ending. The kids, the eyewitnesses.
It's strange.
You don't need them. I think you could
Yes, I need
easily
them.
do this. You could easily, because it transitions to the folder anyway. Just have that folder be Val or Kerry, whatever her name was.
Okay, yeah.
Have it be one of them just narrating over the Doctor getting into his TARDIS, being like, "Oh yeah, he came and he saved our shop. I saw him. I thought he was gay with Craig.
I thought he was gay.
Yeah. I think that's better than having 3 random kids give their opinion, and their opinion being not that informative either.
Well, maybe if they were the kids he'd met in the shop and he was talking to them, that would have made sense. Like, they're just 3 random kids who just happen to
on the street
stare at him.
They see him. They don't even really interact with him. It's not like I don't get why they would be interviewed because they had one scene. It's not like they came and they were. It's not like they were the kids at the school reunion when their whole thing was literally the whole school was blown up because of the Doctor.
Yeah.
They're just kids in the street. So I think you could just rework that slightly so that it's one of the side characters just giving their view. Even Craig, you could even have Craig, or even if you wanted it, Alfie. Say that my dad used to tell stories and he told us. So have something like that. I don't think you need the 3 kids. But I don't know. Maybe it's the whole thing about young kids watch this, so we need to put some young kids in so they feel like they're whatever.
And I guess a lot of the arc and stuff is about how the Doctor just vanishes in people's lives, like the Lorna Bucket and everything, and the Gamma Forests. There's these people who are touched by the Doctor, but he just moves on and doesn't really know who they are.
But then again, I feel that would
very
be
jarring.
Yeah, and I feel that if you want to highlight that a bit more, it would be even better if it was one of the main side characters rather than just 3 kids that saw him in the street, because all they've seen is a guy in the street get into a box that just disappears. It's not as if it's had any impactful way in their lives, unless it has that we don't know of, but we're not going to know.
I really liked his hat.
Yeah, so
why write that down?
Yeah,
just don't make a file.
Was that Hieronymus?
Was that Hieronymus? Well, that was useless. Go away, kid.
Exactly. So I don't think it's needed. It feels like I just don't like the end of this episode. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I think they could have done things a little bit better.
I don't like it. I just hate it intensely.
And the fact that I've broken the ending up into 3 sections probably shows you how much I thought was wrong with the rest of the episode. The fact that I split it all up and gone, oh, actually, this bit of the ending, and this bit.
Yes.
What can you do? So what's your third and final negative?
Bit nitpicky. But the CGI of the Cybermat when it's attacking.
Yeah, when it flies.
Shockingly, it looks great when it's a practical thing, but when they try and CG
when it's the toy,
it looks bad. So it's only like a couple of shots, but there's just one when it's like they flick it off and it's like turning around to come back. I'm like, oh no, that's not really there. Nitpicky. Doctor Who CGI is it's a thing that sometimes happens, and that's fine, part of the charm, I guess. But yeah, it is a bit like, oh god, especially it's not like when it's all CGI, and it's like you literally have a practical thing here, just like don't show it like trying to bounce back on you. I don't know. It was a few seconds, but I needed a negative. So
no, that's fair enough. My sort of additional one, I don't mind the Amy and Rory cameo. Part of me feels it slows the episode down a little bit. For me, that isn't necessary. I'm also not sure if because let's be honest, most people that do perfume posters aren't exactly celebrities. I know it's more implied in Asylum of the Daleks that she's a high-profile model now, but it seems very.
She's on the billboard, literally right there in the store.
Yeah, it's all very convenient. It all very much feels like we need a reason why they don't see the Doctor. I know, we'll get this little girl to autograph. I think. Unless maybe they were on set at the time and that's what happened. They went, film it now. We'll give you a
do it now.
I think that's sort of the only issue is that they just needed a reason why the Doctor doesn't, or they don't see the Doctor. I don't think you necessarily need to do all that, but it's fine. It's a cute reference to the girl who waited kind of thing. So it's really not a major one. I think it's only a minor nitpick, but I've always thought it was strange every time I've seen it. But never mind. Have you got any other?
You just hate negatives? Rory.
I just hate women. So
you just hate women, yeah. You hate women having the spotlight and doing well in their careers.
Unacceptable.
But no, I don't have any additional negatives.
Fair enough. In which case, let's get the tone up and let's have some fun facts.
Sure, tone up. Yeah. No, I think they are kind of fun. We've got some working titles, and oh my,
yay!
Are they wild? So working titles included Carry On Lodging. Fun.
Oh, great.
Everything Must Go, which I do quite like.
Okay, yeah.
The Last Adventure, kind of bland.
Nah.
And then my personal favorite, 3 Cybermen and a Baby. I'm so sad they didn't call it 3 Cybermen and a Baby.
I bet there's a legal reason around that. I bet they weren't allowed to.
And the fact that there's 6 Cybermen by the end probably doesn't help.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Still, I think that's hilarious. But yeah,
I mean, they use a doctor, a widow, and a maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, no, we've already used movie puns once. We can't do it again.
Yeah, we're not doing that in 2 episodes' time.
Oh god.
Anyway, we've already had this one, but I'll read it anyway because I wrote it down. This is the first time in the revival that episode 12 is not part of a multi-part finale written by the head writer. So there's that. This is the first story to feature the Cybermats since the 4th Doctor story, Revenge of the Cybermen, in 1975, which coincidentally is the only Cyberman story the 4th Doctor has in his 7 years in the show. The next time they're in it is Earthshock, little-known story Earthshock, about 8 years later. Unique to this design of the Cybermats are the inclusion of biological teeth and gums, which are disgusting, and I love it.
Definitely gross.
The app used for disabling the Cybermat used one of the additional sounds from the toy of the 11th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, which had previously been unheard on the show until now. I really, really like that they did.
Buy the toy, guys.
I like that they canonized like a sound from the toy, like the bonus thing. I think that's quite neat.
Yeah,
I just think it's neat.
Yeah.
BBC Radio 1 DJ Greg James can be seen as an extra in the background of the scene where Craig tries to talk to Kelly. I did remember that from Doctor Who Confidential, so I did, but it's also on the Fun Facts thing anyway. So all you Greg James fans, get on that. I think he named his character Carlos or something, but it doesn't really matter.
It's not named.
No. This is the second time Craig's love for someone has saved the day. First with Sophie and the Lodger, now with Alfie. Very nice. The fragrance Amy is seen on the advert for is called Petrichor, a reference to the Doctor's wife.
Of
course I put that in there. Yeah. That wasn't in the Doctor Who wiki page. I just put that in because it's the Doctor's wife. And I don't think I need to explain the girl who's tired of waiting thing.
No.
Look, listen. Don't come for me and my fun facts. Don't talk to me and my fun facts again. This is the 3rd time the Cybermen have appeared in the penultimate episode of a series, and oh boy, is it going to happen a lot more. Linda Barron, who plays Val, previously appeared as Captain Rack in the 5th Doctor serial Enlightenment in 1983. In 1966, she also provided vocals for an original song played in a saloon in the 1st Doctor story, The Gunfighters. So she had a few things. And coincidentally, next week is the 1-year anniversary of her passing away. So rest in peace. And then finally, this is the first and only televised appearance of River Song to be in an episode not to be written by Stephen Moffat. However, Moffat did write her scene at the end uncredited.
There's a surprise. Oh, fair enough. Lovely fun facts. Rating time out of 10. I'll go first again, and we'll see if we match up. We're 4 for 4 or whatever it is now. I'm going for a solid 8 out of 10.
Oh, the streak is over.
To
be fair, I did think about an 8, but I've gone 7.5. Just because some of my other 8s, I do like those episodes a bit more, like God Complex and stuff.
No, fair enough. So close, yet so far.
It had to happen eventually.
It did. We had a good run. It's fine. James, we always knew James Corden would.
We always knew James Corden would end it. Yeah.
Anyway, next week we should be back with The Wedding of River Song, the series 6 finale. I can remember most of this one. I think because it's a finale, I've seen it a fair few times. I'm looking forward to seeing if it makes sense. I'm looking forward to seeing all the weird changes that they make with the time going wobbly and whatever. I'm looking forward to the resolution of the arc, and again seeing if that makes sense. Because I can't remember the specifics of it too much, except that it's just like, oh, I was a robot all along, but it's fine. I'm excited for it. Amy and Rory are back. Rory's a badass soldier, and the Silents are back. Amy kills a woman.
I love that scene. That scene's going to be on my positives. I already know.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
What do you all from you, sweetie?
What do you remember? What do you remember from the episode, and are you looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. It's been a very, very long time since I've
Mhm.
actually seen it. But I do revisit Series 6 from time to time, as you may have guessed from my favorite episode. But
Mhm.
I don't tend to watch The Wedding of River Song that much. I think mainly because I've never been big on like the Doctor romances and stuff like that. So I'm like, Wedding of River Song, here we go. But I've actually
Husbands
kind
with
of
a song.
here we go. God, that episode,
No,
man.
no.
Oh, I love the last 15 minutes.
Greg
But
Davis. Greg Davis.
oh yeah, Greg Davis. Who could forget?
King
But
Hydroflax.
yes, yes. We'll get to it eventually. But I've actually kind of found myself enjoying their relationship a lot more, kind of revisiting it the past couple of series. So I am excited to see, how it all wraps up and stuff like that. Obviously the Tesseract reveal, the Amy killing Kovarian, which is iconic. Bit more of obviously seeing the silence in action as well, until we won't see him again until the time of the Doctor. So it's cool to kind of showcase them. We have a finale where the main villain isn't a classic series monster for the first time. So I kind of like Series 6 doing something fresh with that as well. And yeah, I am intrigued to see where it all wraps up, where they leave us. Obviously, we have Dorian back as well as the head, and we also have the Brigadier tribute as well. That starts off in the next one. That's when he finds out the Brigadier's died. So yes, all very sad. But I'm looking forward to it and seeing how it all wraps up, especially because the back half of Series 6 has been really, really strong. I am, very much looking forward to it. So we'll see, if it kind of ends things on a high, or if it, as long as it does an adequate job, I guess we'll have to wait and see until next week.
Yep. So we will be back next week with the series finale, unless there's a trailer or something big happens this week, which again, unlikely. We're in the middle of Feb. It's a while till the 60th, so probably not going to get much. But I think Doctor Who magazine's out next week, so you never know. There might be something.
There might be another Tartan-based outfit from.
There could be another Tartan-based outfit. Who knows? They could announce the Sarah Jane Adventures is back, because I'm pretty sure that's the focus of Doctor Who magazine, and they're back in Big Finish, and who knows? You never know.
The Riley Chandler Adventures are coming soon.
Yeah, literally the Luke Smith Adventures.
Yes,
we will see. But yeah, that's it for this week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.